Good morning. If this is your first time, I'm Kyle and I'm one half of the Wandering Shores. So today we are doing another campsite review, and this time we're just outside Buffalo, Wyoming at Elgin Park Dispersed Camping. So a couple things to know about this boondocking spot. First of all, there's a 14-day stay limit. It is in the Bighorn National Forest, and there are tons and tons of sites. I will say it's very popular with the locals. It's a very highly populated area for side-by-sides and ATVs on the weekends. During the week, it's pretty quiet, but there are two entrances. I'm going to show you both of them. This is the one that is the closest to Buffalo. Now, we are at about 8,000 feet of elevation. The city of Buffalo is at about 6,000, so you're looking at a 2,000 foot elevation gain when you're up here, so it's much cooler during the summer. And the other thing I wanted to mention is you got to be comfortable with mountain driving. There are 7 to 8% grades, both up and down, all the way up to this camp spot. So just be advised of that. You need to know you're going to have to be in, lower gears a lot of the time if you're driving a big rig. But this is the entrance here to Elgin Park. I'm going to take you on a drive through the boondocking area. I will say, when we first got here about 2 weeks ago, a little short of 2 weeks ago, there were a lot more campers, but luckily for everybody, the National Forest office here in the area has been coming in and booting people out. It looked like a lot of people were dropping their RVs and just leaving them up here instead of paying for storage. So luckily, I'm happy to say that the National Forest is enforcing the 14-day stay limit. They've been coming around and tagging RVs, and there was a guy by us that has not ever been to this camper in the entire time that we've been here, and I just noticed it was gone this morning, and it had already been tagged twice, I think, by the National Forest staff. So I'm going to take you through Elgin Park, and then we're going to take you inside and show you a little bit of an overview and show you the exact spot we chose and tell you why we chose it, because it's something pretty unique about it. Do you enjoy free camping and boondocking across the United States? Well, we've got a lot more for you. If you haven't already, checked out thewanderingshores.com, and we have an interactive Google map there where you can see all of the spots we've done campsite reviews of, as well as things to do in the area. So check us out. All right, hopefully you can see right behind me, there is a cow grate. That is kind of about a quarter mile in from the US 16, and that is where the boondocking starts. You're going to see over here behind me, there are some RVs all tucked in the trees right along this whole area. So there's a bunch of camping spaces all along those trees. Now, I will say, it seems like most of the folks that come here, they park in the trees, but the rule is you have to be within 300 feet of the kind of the designated road or the spur. So there's lots of opportunity to park out in more wide open areas if you need solar or Starlink. So, just keep that in mind. But yeah, it seems like most everybody parks in the trees. I don't know what that's all about. It's not that, it's going to be like, we're filming this in the middle of August in 2024, and tomorrow's high is supposed to be 47 degrees. It's gotten up to 70 most days, but yeah, so I don't know. It's not necessarily all about the shade. But yeah, so keep that in mind. There's lots of opportunities. I'm going to show you a few more of the spots, and then I'm going to take you in and show you an overview with the Google Maps, as well as talk about the services that are available in the area. All right, everyone, I'm going to bring you inside here and talk about a few of the things and give you an overhead view of this whole boondocking area. So let's start here with the general state map. There's the state of Wyoming. You've got Grand Tetons over here along with Yellowstone. We are right here just west of Gillette near Buffalo. So let me zoom in and I'll kind of get to what I have these pins on the map. If you haven't seen it already, I think last week at this point I would have released this campsite review for this area called Grouse Mountain. So if you're interested in other spots here, definitely check that one out. But let's take you here along US 16, and these stars are really the two entrance points. I'm going to pull up the satellite map. And as you can see, when we did the intro, we started down here at the entry point to Elgin Park Road. And you can see the intro was done there. And then as we drove in, we drove along this way. And then right about here is where the cow grate was that I stopped and gave you guys a brief overview and showed you as the camping started to go along this direction. So as you can see, as you're driving, you've got lots of opportunities along the trees right here. All these offshoot spurs are also have some camping. This spot right here is pretty rough to get into, so you're really going to need kind of a high clearance vehicle. And then as we continued to drive, we came around this direction and ultimately then ended up right here at this intersection. This intersection, let me back out, is going to be accessible either from the second entrance or from the first. However, if you're planning to camp in the area where we camped, you're going to want to come in the second entrance, which is this one right here. And I'll show you a quick clip from there right now. All right, so we are here at the second entrance to Elgin Park Road. Here is US 16, and we're just about 4 miles north of the original entrance that I showed you, coming from Buffalo. But as you can see here, it's super easy access. You know, it's paved here for about the first 100 feet, and then it becomes gravel road just like it was coming in from the other entrance. This is the entrance I would suggest that you come through if you're going to go to the area, the campground area that we stayed at, because it makes the turn up that hill a little bit easier. And I'll show that to you here in the video real soon. Now, let's fast forward, and we are at this intersection right here. I stopped and gave you a little bit of details as far as entering from either direction, and I'll drop that clip right now. So if you're interested in camping in the spot where we camped, a couple things I want to show you. So this is the direction you'd be coming from if you came from the very first entrance, the one closest to Buffalo. However, I would highly suggest you come in the second entrance, and I'm going to show you that entrance here in a clip as well, because that way, as you're coming down the road towards me right now, you'd be able just to merge right onto this road off to the side. If you're coming from this direction, this is a pretty tight turn, and for big rigs, you're probably going to have some trouble. One other thing I want to mention about this area that I want you to be informed of, it's a free range for cattle, and there are hundreds of them out here right now. The farmers come and bring some, and they take some back. And so if you're not comfortable camping around cattle and having cattle walk around your campsite, this might not be the place for you, because there's a lot of free range cattle out here. But it's still gorgeous, and I'm going to take you up and show you a few more of the sections. As we turn up to go towards the boondocking spot where we are at, you're traversing up this slight hill. It's in really fairly good condition, and we chose to camp right here, and I'm going to give you an overview of that area, and we're going to come back and show you a clip of that boondocking spot. But let me continue on and tell you a few other things about the area. There is some boondocking right here along this tree line. This road right here is pretty much an ATV road, and then this is a steep hill up to the top of another overlook, which is got some camping up here, but I would not take anything larger than a truck camper or an off-road small uh, travel trailer up that direction. But we continued on in the video. I'm going to show you as we drive through here. You kind of climb this hill right here on 372. There's some spots right here, and then all along that tree line right there, there are camping spots. There's a spot right in there. You can actually see it looks like there's a camper there, or a cluster of campers there on the Google map. Through the tree line, and this heart right here is actually the Elgin Park trailhead. For the most part, folks, this is a equestrian parking lot. There are a lot of tie-ups for the horses. You can see, hopefully I'm showing you a clip down in the corner when I pulled around. You could see it was pretty full right there, but that is a trailhead mostly for horseback riding. You can continue on into this area, but the road gets kind of rough. You can see some travel trailers and RVs out here in this area. But let me take you back now to where we chose to camp and tell you a little bit of information
about this spot and why that's so important.
So this is the spot that we chose. Obviously, we have plenty of opportunity for solar. We'll call it YouTuber Hill since it's ourselves, the Wandering Shores. Broken Dreams Reborn are right there, and Amputee Adventures are right there. One thing I want to say about this particular spot, and we'll put the GPS pin below. This is, I guess, the only spot in the whole area that has cell service. So every day, without a doubt, you'll have people coming up and parking, you know, here and sometimes over there and sometimes over there in their side-by-sides or in their trucks or whatever, so that they can use their phones either to check email, surf the internet, or make phone calls. So we didn't know that when we picked this spot. There's actually never been anyone here, even when we came through and scouted. So it's just very interesting that this is one of the only areas that has any cell service. There's a little bit of Verizon, no T-Mobile, but there is some AT&T as well. So if you got Verizon or AT&T, this is a really good spot if that's your only option. But yeah, and then there's some boondocking over here right along the edge of the tree and kind of down that side road. You can kind of see the cow off in the distance potentially. So this is a great spot. I highly recommend it. It was pretty easy to get flat, and as you can see, we've got plenty
Let's
of
take
space
one
up
other
here.
thing I want to mention about this area, but before we get to taking you to all the resources available in the area. This road is primarily an ATV road. However, we took Chris's Jeep up there, and there is something to see if you kind of traverse this. It's about 3 or 4 miles back, but down this twisty road here on 401, right here, there's an old historic cabin that you can go check out. It's got some information and placards. I'll probably drop a picture right there about that cabin. But it's a pretty cool little outing. But it's about a 4 mile drive or walk, I guess, if you wanted to, along that dirt road. But now let me take you in and give you an overview of the resources available in the area. As you go back into town, into the town of Buffalo, or as you come through town, you're going to have a few options. This Cenex station, there's two Cenex stations. This is the one right next to McDonald's. This Cenex station right behind it has a dump station. I'll show you right there where that is. Right there's a dump station with what they list as potable water, but be advised that the water spigot is right next to the dump station. So I would highly suggest you sanitize it before
You're
hooking your
gonna
hose up
see
to
where
it.
the diesel pumps are. You're gonna come around this way. You'll see where the semis are parked. And then you're gonna have water here and the dump. There is a small trash can there. And then there was one trash receptacle back there that I found. There were not any over along the back side
Across the
where the
street
semis
is
are parked.
really the only laundromat in town, which is squeaky clean wash and laundromat. There's a car wash there as well. Large parking lot so that you can um, park a small travel trailer or something in there. Let me show you where that's at. Let me zoom around here. I'm on the wrong side of the road. Yeah, they've got a big parking lot over here on the side. Yeah, but there is a laundromat right there. And so that is a good option if you need to do laundry. There is a small grocery store in town called DJ's. If you're looking, I think there it is, DJ's Grocery right there. It's a pretty nice little grocery store for a small town like this. And then if you're coming from the other direction, meaning coming from the west, further out on 16 or further towards Yellowstone and 10 Sleep, there is a free dump station and water by donation only right here called the Lee Creek RV dump station. There's 4 lanes, there's potable water here at the end. It's donations, so please remember to donate some money to keep places like this open because it's a huge resource. But I will tell you, it's closed at least usually until the end of June because there's so much snow up at this elevation. You're at like 9,000 feet of elevation. So be advised that if you're coming before July, you might want to look at other options when it comes to dump stations and water. There are also a few national forest campgrounds along the way here on 16. So Middle Fork, there's South Fork, there's Circle Park. There's quite a few. Some of them have water, and you can talk to the camp host and see if you can get some water at that location
I also
potentially.
wanted to, before we close off this video, I just wanted to show you some of the boondocking spots that are down the hill. And I'll show you, I probably showed you that when we were doing the site overview on Google Maps. So hope this video was helpful for you. If you like it, give us a thumbs up. You can always subscribe to our channel as well. We very much appreciate that. And if you want to be notified anytime we put out videos, hit the notification bell. See you next week, everyone.